Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub, the CFL News Hub, footballanalysis1.com. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL, the Hamilton Ticats of the CFL, the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFL, and Football Scientific. We also talk about the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL, the National Arena League, and the ELF, the European League of Football. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Wolfie D. Wolfie in the house! Let's get after it! What's behind you? What's behind you? What's behind me? Oh, for my birthday I got a new whiteboard. We got a big whiteboard now, and as you can see on the whiteboard, we are 2-0 in our predictions in the UFL this week in week 6. Woo! That is cool. We get to write on the whiteboard. Yeah, we get to write on the whiteboard. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, right. Pretty hype, right? That's hype. I'm hyped to write on the whiteboard. Let me do it. No, PD, you can't do it. We gotta do a show. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotta do a show. The whiteboard is so cool. Awesome. Roo-goo-roo. Okay. All right, Wolfie D. So first, looking at the UFL, there's 2 games played. We're halfway through the weekend of the UFL. 2 games have been played. Last night, the Arlington Renegades went to the St. Louis Battlehawks on the road, 3-2 versus 3-2. I expected it to be a close game. I expect it to be a bit of a grind. Both teams want to run the ball and run some play action off of it, and both teams want to play good defense. Tough matchup. Actually, it turned out to be a really tough matchup. It kind of rang true. Some people complained about the offense I've seen on some internet sources, but basically it's just a real well-played game. Good defensive game, okay? So, first, for the Arlington Renegades, quarterback Luis Perez went 16 for 23, 145 yards. He threw no touchdowns, but 1 interception. That's not the best. So he had a pretty good day other than the interception. But with no touchdowns, 1 interception, that gives him a QBR of 68.2. He really didn't do much running the ball. 2 runs for 3 yards. So they did a good job of shutting down Luis Perez for the most part. Running back Daddy Hunter had for the Arlington Renegades. He had 13 runs for 47 yards and 5 catches for 41 yards. He definitely had the biggest game of the day. Daddy Hunter, like I said, 13 runs, 47 yards, 5 catches, 41 yards. Okay. Running back Kalen Ballage, also for the Renegades, had 9 runs for 30 yards, doing his part. Wide receiver Javante Payton had 3 catches for 40 yards. Defensively, the Renegades played pretty good football. They had 5.5 sacks. That's pretty good. They had 7 tackles for loss, and they had 1 fumble recovery. So, I mean, that's a pretty good game from Renegades, okay? Battlehawks. What Battlehawks have? Well, quarterback Max Duggan came out and did not play as good as last week. He went 7 for 19 for 93 yards. He did throw 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So while he didn't light up the scoreboard, he did avoid making critical errors. Okay, he has a QBR of 70.1 because of the touchdown. Although he completed less than 50% of his passes, kind of ugly football. He did run the ball 10 times for 49 yards and keep the chains moving, which is valuable. Running back Jacob Sailors for the Battlehawks had 14 runs for 57 yards. Wide receiver, it's not a normal name. Let's see. That's not one of the names you expect to see. I don't know, but he did all right. 3 catches, 31 yards, and no touchdowns. Defensively, St. Louis Battlehawks had 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 3 fumble recoveries. Okay, so the difference in this game ended up being it was not the offense, it was the defense. 3 fumble recoveries and an interception. Well, that's 4 turnovers. While the Renegades could only force 1 turnover, they lost a turnover battle 4-1 by 3, and they lost the game 12-6. Battlehawks win 12-6. I predicted Battlehawks would win a tough one. Okay. Next, Memphis Showboats. This is earlier today. Memphis Showboats traveling to the. Go back. So that puts the Arlington Renegades at 3-3, 3rd place XFL Conference, and St. Louis Battlehawks at 4-2, 2nd place behind the DC Defenders. They play tomorrow at noon. Okay. Memphis Showboats, who are 1-4 coming into this game, going against the Houston Roughnecks, who are 2-3, and after they destroyed the Brahmans last week, we're in key position to kind of get back to the playoff picture if they got to win. Speaking of win, for the Memphis Showboats, quarterback Dresser Wynn, who had a great game last week, went 22 for 34 for 207 yards. Pretty good game. He threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had 3 runs for 16 yards and a rushing touchdown. So he did it with the legs to the QBR 78.9. Not as good as last week, but still a solid day. The Memphis Showboats at the end of the week had added running back Wes Hills. He used to be the running back of the Michigan Panthers, and he did a pretty good job. He came out and he had 13 runs for 47 yards. He's a big addition to that Memphis Showboats offense that they might start winning a game or two. Okay, wide receiver D. Anderson came out at 5 catches, 47 yards. J.J. Wilson, another receiver, had 2 catches, 6 yards, but he had a TD. That's why I mentioned him. And then defensively, the Showboats had 1 sack and 2 tackles for loss. Okay, so the Houston Roughnecks, the home team, quarterback Jalen McClendon, their third quarterback, technically this year, went 20 for 28. That's a solid game, 149 yards, threw 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. That puts him at a QBR 95.7. That's the best quarterback play of the weekend so far. He also had 5 runs for 4 yards. Not world-beating, but the QBR 95.7 is wonderful. Running back Zaquandre White had 13 runs for 50 yards, 4 catches for 16 yards, helping move the chains. That's what you got to do. You got to keep moving the chains. Wide receiver Justin Hall had 6 catches for 36 yards and 1 touchdown. He was really the leader of the offense, other than Jalen McClendon. Jalen McClendon's playing pretty well for the Houston Roughnecks. Last year, someone mentioned he should be a quarterback for the Brahmas, and I thought they could do better than that, but he's playing good. I kind of wish he was with the Brahmas. Defensively, they had 1 sack, 5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. If you count them up, that's 2 turnovers they forced. 2 turnovers. It's going to be tough to win a game if you're turning the ball over way more than the other team. So Houston Roughnecks win 2-0 on a turnover battle, and Houston Roughnecks win the game 21-20. Close game. And that puts the Roughnecks in the mix for the playoffs, okay? So like Michigan Panthers, they play tomorrow against DC Defenders. If they lose to DC, as I expect they will, they're going to be 3-3. And Houston Roughnecks will now be tied for second place with them. Birmingham Stallions faced San Antonio Brahmas. Last time we faced the top team in the UFL, the DC Defenders, we beat the DC Defenders. So if we can come out with Kevin Hogan running the offense, I put a whole pregame article about that game. We're going to the game tomorrow. Whoop whoop, we'll be at the game. Football signing will be at the Brahmas Stallions game tomorrow. But if they can put an offense together, they can just play good, sound football with Kevin Hogan at quarterback and run the ball and play some defense. They could upset the Birmingham Stallions. I mean, Showboats knocked them out last week at home. So, I mean, that's possible. If that happens, the Houston Roughnecks could be tied for first place in the UFL Conference. So if both Michigan and Birmingham take L's tomorrow, probability is low for that. I'm predicting the DC Defenders win. I'm predicting Birmingham Stallions win. So if that happens, Houston Roughnecks will be tied for second with Michigan Panthers and Birmingham Stallions will be in first place. But if they end up getting tied for first place, they should be first. They should be the top team because they have a tiebreaker over the. No, they don't have any tiebreakers. No, that was Memphis Showboats. Okay, boom. So that's the second one. I'm 2-0 in the UFL predictions so far this week. Boop. Very nice. Okay. NFL news, a little bit of NFL news. Baltimore Ravens, they have reached an agreement with former Rams offensive tackle Joseph Nate Boom. So they're going to have him make their offense more dangerous. That's not good for the Bengals. Come on, man. Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a handshake deal with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers dealing with some personal issues. When he gets them over with, he'll join the team, he says. So it looks like finally Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. They didn't draft anyone. I think maybe late they picked up Will Howard potentially from Ohio State, but he's meant to be a backup. So I think Aaron Rodgers is finally making a handshake deal to come out with the Steelers probably in mini camps. So he probably won't show up to mini camps or OTAs. He will have personal issues. Kansas City Chiefs, they signed 2 undrafted free agents, wide receiver Justin Lockhart and defensive back Kevin Knofler, okay, something like that. Philadelphia Eagles signed 5th-round pick Mac McWilliams, so they drafted him in the 5th round last week, and they have signed him. So they're signing all their draft picks already. They're getting him in so they can get them in the minicamp and OTAs. That's how you win the Super Bowl. Okay, I mentioned last night, I thought the CFL, their transactions had not been posted yet. So I went over the transactions from Thursday, but then things got crazy. Why are things getting crazy? Because training camp starts, really, rookie training camp starts and the CFL on Wednesday. Okay, so certain rookie minicamp starts there. So you want to get all your rookies signed from the CFL draft, from the CFL Global Draft. You want to get them signed so they get into camp. You can start evaluating players. I believe on May 9th, you're going to have everyone there. Okay, and then you have to cut the roster down to 85 players. So wherever you're at now, you got to cut down to 85 players. And then by next Friday, I cut down to 75. So it's really important to get these guys in camp so they can start assessing who they want to keep and who they don't want to keep, so they know what they're doing. With that in mind, a ton of transactions happened yesterday. So here we go. CFL BC Lions, they signed American wide receiver David Durden. They signed national offensive lineman Dre Doron, who played at Kansas. They signed national offensive lineman Connor Clayson, who played at Regina U Sports Football. Global punter Ross Bulger, he played at Idaho State, I believe. And then they released national defensive back Charlie Ringland, and American wide receiver Victor Bolden Jr. So they're moving on. Calgary Stampeders, they signed national offensive lineman Matthew Stockman, who played at Manitoba and Esports Football. National defensive back Ashton Miller, who played at Queens. Miller Melancon, who played at Queens, which is a university in Canada, Esports Football. National wide receiver Vashon Genesis, he signed with Calgary. He played at Guelph, which is by Hamilton. Global punter Mark Bassett, who played at Colorado, signed with the Calgary Stampeders. National running back Ludovic Choquette, signed with the Stampeders. National tight end Quincy Vaughn from Long Island is now with the Stampeders. Boom. National defensive back Delaney Robinson is now signed with the Calgary Stampeders. National long snapper Jason McGogan. He played at Wilfrid Laurier. Teams are getting loaded up in their training camp rosters. We'll keep going. Montreal US only signed one player, American defensive lineman Traquan Thomas. He played at Alabama State. That's only one player from Montreal. Ottawa, they signed American offensive lineman Malcolm Gardner. He played at FAU. They signed national linebacker Jaden Griffith, American linebacker Brandon Jackson, who played at Troy. They signed national wide receiver Ethan Jordan. Signed global punter Callum Eddings. They released American defensive back Nafis Lyon and released American defensive lineman Sam Latham. And they released defensive back Clay Field. Released Clay Field III. Okay. The Saskatchewan Roughriders. They signed American offensive lineman Peyton Collins, who played at Eastern Michigan. They signed American offensive lineman Jake Levingood. They signed global punter Adam Corsa, and he's going to be from the global draft. Good. Toronto Argonauts, they released national offensive lineman national defensive lineman Ifina Ogiehu. Okay, they signed national offensive lineman Josh Cairo, who played at Queens. They signed national offensive lineman Ethan Pyle, who played at Guelph. They signed national defensive back Istran Asibo, who played at Windsor. They signed national running back Joey Zorn, who played at Windsor. They signed American offensive lineman Holly Hampton Egler, who is from U Sports. Okay. Winnipeg Blue Bombers signed national defensive. They signed a lot of people. I'm going to have to go through a long list. They signed national defensive lineman Trey Lang. They signed global defensive lineman Kemet Maurier. They signed American defensive tackle Cameron Peterson, who was with the Tiger Cats last year before he got cut. That's not an impressive signing. No offense. They signed American running back Quentin Collin. Okay, he played at Liberty. They signed American wide receiver Austin Eakes. They signed national defensive back Ethan Ball. They signed national linebacker Lane Nash. They signed American linebacker Kobe Wilson to play at SMU. They signed American offensive line Alexis Levesque Gallant, who played at Montreal. He's American, though. They played at Montreal, University of Montreal. His mother must have been from Not from Canada, but maybe he's from living in Canada. He's obviously something. He's an American offensive lineman with the last name Levesque Gallant. Unless he's related to Triple H, Paul Levesque. He's definitely from Quebec. He said he's American though, so we'll see. I don't know. They signed national wide receiver Joey Kokorin. They released American quarterback Jake Dalagala. Goodbye, Jake. They signed national offensive lineman Ethan Vibert. The Bear, maybe. And they released former Elf defensive lineman, global player Lucky Ogabevian, who played at Tyrol Raiders before moving on to the CFL. And they traded Kyle Sampson to the Hamilton Ticats the first part of the draft. So I guess Lucky Ogabevian is not that lucky. He's going back to Tyrol. T-roll. Edmonton signed national offensive lineman Domenico McGall. They signed American wide receiver Germanic Smith. He's a good player. Germanic Smith is. He's done some stuff in the IFL. American defensive back Kai Gray. American offensive lineman Wyatt Hunter. American defensive lineman Shaquille Brown. American quarterback Jarrett Doge. National linebacker Jacob Taylor played Alabama. National defensive lineman Daniel Joseph played North Carolina State. Boom. And then finally, last but not least, the best of all time, we have the Hamilton Ticats. They have signed many other draft picks from the week, from early in the week on Tuesday. National defensive back Mac Bannatyne is on the roster officially. National defensive back Ronan Harrell is on the roster officially. National defensive lineman Nate Marty from Arkansas State is on the roster. National defensive lineman Ty Anderson is on the roster. They should all show up at the rookie minicamp on Wednesday, hopefully. They also signed from the global draft, the first-round global draft pick, Josh Green, punter for Oregon State. He signed, I have an article about everyone who got signed by the Hamilton Ticats on CFL News Hub. The UFL News Hub, you'll see an article about Kevin Hogan and some moves the Brahmas made this week, and then you'll see my pregame article of how the Brahmas would need to go about beating the Birmingham Stallions. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Some players removed from the Hamilton Ticats roster are Nick Cross, national linebacker Nick Cross, who's been in and out of the roster anyway over the last couple of years. American linebacker Tyler Murray retired, and they released running back Felix Gauthier, who's from Laval and Montreal. He might be going to the Montreal. They like the hog. They like to sign all the Quebecers. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, next. More people signed that were not draft picks. Quarterback Tyler Huff, who played at Jacksonville State last year. FBS with the coach who's not West Virginia. I forget his name. But Tyler Huff, pretty good at Jacksonville State last year. 14 games, 178 out of 292 passes completed, 61%, 2,545 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You might have a chance to come in and push for a third quarterback spot. You never know. They got a lot of quarterbacks in Hamilton right now, so obviously they want more for training camp purposes. He's got to earn his job, though. They signed American defensive back Eric Haney, who played football at the University of San Diego in the Pioneer League. Whoop, whoop. I came from the Pioneer League. I played for Butler for a year and a half, for 2 seasons. Haney played at University of San Diego for the Toreros, which is a bullfighter. From 2020 to 2024, he played 42 games. He had 105 solo tackles, 42 assists, 14 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 5 interceptions, 2 return for touchdowns. Zach could be a playmaker. We'll see. Although coming from San Diego to Canada is going to be a tough transition. The Ticats signed American defensive end Marcel Walker Burgess. He played his final season of college football at Ohio University in 2024. He played 14 games for the Bobcats, 33 solo tackles, 23 assists, 7.5 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback sacks. He seems to be a playmaker. He's from New Jersey. He's 6'2", 256. Could be a playmaker. Could help upgrade that defensive line, which the Ticats have been needing to fix. American wide receiver Trayshawn Harrison moves on from the Tennessee Titans to the Hamilton Ticats. In college, he played at Florida State, sparingly, a little bit at Florida State, 37 catches over 2 seasons, 3 touchdowns, 355 yards. But then he went to Oregon State from 2020 to 2022, played 28 games, had 90 catches, 1,147 yards, and 8 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Let's see if he makes the team. Tiger Cats are loaded at wide receiver. Next, they signed kicker Eric Maximuk, who played at U Sports Concordia University. I get final information on him. They played at Concordia. They're bringing him for camp practice, I'm sure, trying to get some competition going on. And then they signed American defensive lineman Thomas Gore, who played at several places. He's from Antioch, Tennessee, up by Nashville, which isn't too far from here. He's 6 foot, 280 pounds. He started his college career at Georgia State, where he played from 2019 to 2022, probably his undergrad. He played 38 games, had 49 solos, 43 assists, 10.5 sacks. Not bad. He then moved to the University of Miami as a grad transfer, I guess they call that, from 2023 to 2024, but it shows he only played in 2023, 12 games. He had 5 solo tackles, 3 assists, 2 sacks. In 2024, he was not going to get playing time, so he transferred out to go to Georgia Tech. For 2024, where he played 13 games for the Yellow Jackets and had 8 solo tackles and 6 assists and 0.5 sacks. So I don't think he's probably going to be a guy that gets cut. But we'll see what happens with these guys. We'll see how it goes. Training camp, like I said, mini camp starts for the rookies on Wednesday. So we'll start seeing some activity and see what's going on there in the CFL. Should be a fun time had by y'all. And tomorrow we're going to go watch the Brahmas. We being the Football Scientific, we're going to go watch the Brahmas play the Birmingham Stallions tomorrow. So that should be a fun game to watch. And we'll see how it goes. And other than that, I hope you have a good night. The IFL games are on tonight. Boom, 5 of them. NAL games are on tonight. 3 of them. Okay, UFL's done for today. But there's 2 games tomorrow, 1 at noon, and then the Brahmas game is at 4 o'clock. So enjoy some football. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, go check out articles on UFL News Hub, CFL News Hub, footballanalysis1.com. Also, if you like Football Scientific, subscribe to the channel. We keep producing great content. And then also like the video. It helps what do they call the equation type thing? I forget what they call it. So it goes there and it makes us get more hits, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But have a great night. Football Scientific. This portal is closed.